G'day everyone, and thanks for coming down to the Biker Bar. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Also joining me for today's presentation is Ina Lombard and Ellen Ogilvie from MotoGirl in the UK. Ina is the owner and clothing designer. Ellen is the sales and marketing manager. We also have Steph Bofinger, the founder and CEO of Fempro Armour here in Australia. Ina, Ellen, Steph, welcome to the Biker Bar.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
No worries at all. And also, I know we've got some people online, so feel free to jump in and ask questions along the way. I think we can have a really good conversation here today. I just want to get started. Both MotoGirl and Fempro Armour opened fairly recently, I guess within the last 10 years at least. And both have interesting stories about how they got started. Ina and Ellen, can I start with MotoGirl and how that came about?
Yeah, absolutely. So, God, it seems like a while ago now, but Ina and I were both sort of working in completely separate jobs than what we're doing now. And I think it was over probably a glass of wine that Ina said, "I've got this idea. We need more women's gear. I've got, she'd all these ideas in her head, but she was like, I need some help sort of running it. We need to get it started." And I was like, oh yes, that sounds really good, just sort of, and then went home and I just couldn't stop thinking about it. And I was like, this would be really, really cool. And went back to Ina the next week and I was like, Ina, I've quit my job, let's do it. And we both just sort of, MotoGirl started and Ina had all her sort of clothing ideas and it started off with our leggings. And they were just a really, really big success. And then from there, we went on to bring out jackets and more trousers. And since then, our catalogue has expanded. But like we were talking about before the meeting, we started off in our living room, literally in Ina's living room. That's where my office was, the dining room table. And our storage units were literally cardboard boxes I'd sort of put together and we started from very, very humble beginnings.
Yeah, I must say, I think it's a bit of a blur for me because I was continuing working in the city, earning the city money and to try to support and fund the business. So I would lunchtimes or say to my work now, go into a meeting room, have meetings with Ellen, lunchtime, answering emails. When I get home at 7 at night, then I give myself half an hour and start with MotoGirl. And then, I think I lived on 4 hours sleep for about 2 years. And I think I got to a stage where I was, you know what, I need to take the leap of faith that this will work. Yeah. The doubt in my mind was a lot of bike shops were saying that it won't work. And so I was against all the data and people's advice, but I still believed in it.
Yeah. Were you in clothing manufacturing in your other job, or was it something totally different?
No, it was completely a passion for motorcycles, completely a passion for fashion and for comfortable fashion. To wear, and my background is basically being a sort of a statistician and a business analyst. So I analyze everything. It's actually a curse, and I just decided, you know what, I'm going to have a crack. So I taught myself. I'm sort of a self-taught a clothing designer. I'm still learning every day, but with my background is risk management and health and safety in the insurance industry, I've gained a lot of knowledge with, health and safety and things like that. So I just read a lot, and with the PPE regulation that came into play a few years ago, it is still quite new for a lot of manufacturers and for a lot of people because it's not a way that we used to work, but now we are all working towards. So so it is. I wasn't too far behind with the health and with the safety aspect of it, which is great because that is what we now live and breathe in the UK and Europe.
Yeah, sure. And Steph, how about you? You've got an interesting story about it, how you started as well, right?
Yeah, I used to be a remedial massage therapist, and I had a day spa. And in 2016. I decided before Queensland was changing their license structure that I will get my motorcycle license. I've always wanted to ride, but I had small children, and by the time 2016 came, they were like teenagers. And so even when I bought my first motorcycle gear, I went into shops and asked, where's the girl stuff? And they all looked at me going like, what are you talking about? Anyway, at that time, it wasn't much of where a light bulb moment came on where I needed to design something, because I usually have that problem in normal clothes too. I'm 6 foot tall, I have long legs and nothing ever fits. But in 2019, I rode the Simpson Desert, and I wore male armor and motocross gear. And constantly I was extremely uncomfortable. And through the ride, the 11 other girls looked pretty much the same, as uncomfortable, and they were pulling and tugging. And when I spoken to them, I said to them, what's wrong with you guys? And pretty much all of them had the same problem. So after trying to stay alive for 4 days, going over 1,100 sand dunes, I decided to design female body armor to protect myself better, but I wanted to help others. Being in the field of helping people, I just want to help others to be more comfortable. And at that stage, I hated, because I have short hair, so when I wear motorcycle gear, I don't look like a girl. And every time I took my helmet off or I spoke to someone, they would say, oh, there's a girl underneath there. And I'm just sick and tired of it. And so I decided I'm going to make female chest protection. And I had no idea how, what. I just knew that something needed to change. And over the next 12 months, I jumped into this rabbit hole that was extremely big, and many sleepless nights. And same with Ina, I didn't have much sleep for quite some time. Basically, Fempro Armour just took over my living, my breathing, my thoughts. And yeah, 12 months and 4 days later, I had my first chest armor in my hand, shed a few tears on the way. I had many setbacks. I had about a dozen manufacturers saying, what you want is not possible to do. And call me a stubborn German. I always believe everything is possible. Yeah. You just don't know how. And I've just asked a lot of questions, got connected with a lot of people, and Fempro Armour started off as motorcycling, but we're pretty now in any impact sports. We're doing now a clinical trial for aged care very soon in a couple of hospitals here in Queensland. So yeah, it's changed my life. And in January this year, I've quit my full-time job, and yeah, so full in this.
Very cool.
No plan B.
Oh. Right.
So I've been thinking, even though the number of registered female riders is relatively low, although it's growing, compared to male riders, females have been part of the motorcycle community for a long time, if only as pillion passengers. Why do you think the availability of riding gear for females is really only being addressed in recent times? I'll throw that out to you, MotoGirl.
Sure. Well, I think in terms of motorcycle clothing for women, if you look back of when we started in 2015, yes, there were not a lot available for women. I mean, even visiting shops, it's a male-dominated sort of staff members in motorcycle shops, etc. Hence the reason. And they were saying to us that we keep not a lot of choice for women, or not a lot of gear, or not at all, because we don't have female customers.
Yeah.
So we were challenging a lot of them, saying, well, if you don't have female gear, people won't come to your shop. So in terms of, I've seen a massive change over the last 5-6 years. And, you know, there is definitely, even though, well, we're looking at around about 20% of women overall. So I think it's definitely increased for women. There is definitely much more choice. I know that a lot of manufacturers are definitely concentrating on a lot of women ranges and on safety as well. So I think I still hear a lot that, oh, there's not a lot of choice. I still hear a lot, there's not enough sizing, etc. I think if we address the first one, which is the, you know, everybody says everything is always pink and it's always, you know, there's no clothing. If you do Google now and you will see there's not really a lot of pink anymore. People are listening out there. So we have to give a lot of the manufacturers credit for what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because we can see they've got much more female people giving them feedback and advice on clothing and on the fit and on the colors. And that is so refreshing to see. We also see much more people offering different leg lengths, etc., etc. So the second one, in terms of you know, the sizing of clothing, that is sort of quite still limited, I would say. And I think for a lot of big or large manufacturers, it's just due to a business decision, because you do sell more between certain sizes, and sometimes even us will be left with bigger or very smaller sizes, but we still do them because we can. So yeah, I think definitely it's changing. And when these shops are getting in stock or clothing, they do see an increase of female clothing. A lot of them have ladies sections now. And ladies' days and ladies' events. So we see a huge change in the UK and definitely in Europe as well, which is refreshing, right? It's great.
So I've heard a lot of comments from female riders that it's hard to find good quality riding gear that really fits, and particularly regarding plus sizes. What's some of the feedback you've heard from customers regarding issues they've found while looking for gear? I'll throw this to you, Steph, and then maybe.
I mean, I'm just reading some of the questions that the ladies are having whilst we're talking here, and it's great to hear that the UK is changing. Unfortunately, Australia is still behind the 8 ball, in my opinion, with a lot of the sizing. Pretty much, you can't even say that 2/3 is male and 1/3 are females in motorcycle stores. There's very limited range for females here in Australia. And quite often, if there is female riding gear out, it's pretty much the same cut. The male garment is just made with different colors. There is very limited. They are seeing it because we are actually a fast growing group. We grow by 12% each year, so we're still behind the guys. But my theory is, women here in Australia, we need to complain more to manufacturers or to retailers particular. And I said it too, it's like the chicken and the egg. Retailers don't have the gear, so females can't go to retailers and ask and try, and we still need to try motorcycle gear on. Guys, it's so much easier to buy online because pretty much everyone fits into that box of gear, where with females, we have so many body shapes. There is not one of the same. And so it's extremely hard to buy things online. I mean, I have a 1 meter inside seam of my legs. So buying pants is pretty much impossible online. And I always look like I ran out of money because nothing is long enough. And so we do see a lot of women, in my opinion, do get it wrong when they are comparing, oh, I'm a size 16, but I have to wear double extra large in riding gear. The thing is, every manufacturer has their own sizing range of where, it's the same like when I make our gear. I based it on my body shape, and I did some research on other girls on their body shape, and then go like, okay, Australian size 16 is that measurements, and then I'm basing it down to 14 and 12 and 10 and 6 and all that. And every garment manufacturer does that too. If you buy products from Asia, because their ladies are extremely small, so you pretty much have to buy 3 sizes bigger if you want to fit into garments that are made in Asia. So you can't compare your normal sizing to a motorcycle range as such. And because females have such a different body shape, if you're not fitting into a standard size, and then what is a standard size? There is no such thing. But if you're having a fairly normal shape, you gotta have to go to a seamstress and get your gear altered, because it is pretty impossible to cater for every female body shape that is out there. And that's, as Ina said before, if there is more a range of size 10, 12, like Australian size, to a size 16. You sell more in that. We go into a size 6, and you know, not many small girls that go into a size 6 buy motorcycle gear, and you physically can't afford having your stock being on the shelves for too long, or for a year, and hoping that someone will come and buy. So it's a really hard decision to make for manufacturers or retailers of what kind of a size we should keep in store for people to you know, come in and to try. Yeah, it's extremely hard, and yeah, Australia, as I said, is still behind the 8 ball. So I hope things will change here as well.
So Ina and Ellen, with a wider range of body shapes amongst females than males, as Steph was just mentioning, is it difficult to cater to the female market?
You know, it is difficult, but we try. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, Stephanie has mentioned so many points, which I absolutely agree with. I mean, we are all unique. We look different. Our bodies are unique. We are built different. If you're looking for motorcycle clothing, you're going to have very similar problems that you have in finding casual clothing: longer legs, longer torso, wider shoulders, you know, things just, for example, the different shapes of your body, you know, whether you diamond shape or rectangular shape, you know, whatever shape you are and where you fall within. We have often people that ask, can you make items with longer arms? But then you have also people saying, can I have shorter arms? You know, you can have people who say the chest is too small, but you have some people who say the chest is too big.
Yeah.
So it's always hard to find that sort of middle way. And sometimes I get a few people asking me the chest is too small, then I make it bigger, then I've got loads of people complaining it's too big. So it is so different to cater for everybody. I mean, we try to do sizes UK 4 to size UK 28. Yep. We have made for people up to 30, maybe 32, even sizes. We are so often do we say to people, okay, let's change we can do a custom jacket with a shorter length of arm or a longer length to help those people. And I think in terms of helping people to get something that fits well but is also safe. Yes. Because if you're going to have a very long arm, then your elbow protectors are not going to be, you know, in the right place. So men are and women are so different built. You can't really put the same jackets out there because, for one, the shoulders is going to be way too big.
Yeah.
And men carry their weight in their sort of trunks and stuff, where women, we carry it in our thighs and our hips mainly.
Yeah.
You know, so there's always a massive difference in the shape that we are looking at. But when you start looking at bigger sizes, the shape just goes like completely out of control, because you either have smaller legs, but you have to get it over your bum and your waist. And if you have tiny legs, it's going to be too big over the legs. If you have, you know, bigger legs or a bigger buttocks, then you might have an inverted spine. So the trousers will be too big. So it's all about having adjustment. We focus a lot on stretch fabrics to give you that extra inch or two and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess like the number of registered female riders has doubled in the last 10 years. I know in Australia and in the US, and I presume similar numbers in the UK and Europe. And that number is only going to increase. So, so is that the answer? Sort of looking at garments that can be adjusted, like having your elastics, having your Velcro, or having your, those kinds of things. Is that looking like it might be the answer?
If I can answer that, is like our gear. So, for example, Georgia Newton just is saying, unfortunately, the issues where the armor sits at 5'4", it's hard to find knee armor that protects the knees and not my shins.
Yeah.
Because I have long legs, I have exactly the same problem. Now, I believe because I'm in the body armor protection, and yes, we have apparels where our body armor goes in, I do believe that body armor needs to be on the body. So I've taken every armor out of my riding gear. So I have no armor in my jacket. I have no armor in my pants. I wear knee braces underneath my pants. And all our gear, there is a lot of stretch involved. So we are making now road adventure jackets that go over our undergarments, so that you can take the jackets off if it gets too warm, or you have the jacket on, but you always have the body armor on your body. And because of that, we use pretty much 90% of stretch, because then that way the armor can actually sit where it needs to sit. And it really doesn't matter if you have shorter arms or longer legs, or because we're more working like our garment, we're talking about upper body. It can be tailored without us as garment manufacturers having to change it. The customer can actually change it themselves, because of Velcros are positioned in a way so that they can pull the arm up and attach the Velcro better to where the armor needs to sit. So, I mean, I've just been at an event a couple of weeks ago where I've seen a lot of people, females, having jackets that are way too big. The armor is very loose and sitting at the wrong places, and you might as well not wear anything, because it's not protecting as such. So the answer is always is if you are too short or too tall, or like not fitting, is you're gonna have to find people like MotoGirl that can adjust things, or go to smaller companies that have the in-house of alterations, or get custom made. There's now, I mean, in the UK or Europe, there's a lot of garments out that we don't even get here in Australia, and but the smaller businesses, they can change things so much better than the big businesses that that just chew their garments out. So that's always my advice. If something doesn't fit right, get it custom made.
Yeah. Well, that was you sort of touched on something there that I was going to ask next, and that was, how important is it for females to wear gear for females rather than wearing potentially ill-fitting gear designed for men? I'll throw that to you, Ina and Alan.
I think we yeah, definitely the beginning saw it a lot. I actually, you saying that took me back to our first ever show that we did at Brands Hatch here in the UK, and a lot of ladies turned up in their partner's gear or hand-me-downs, and like Stephanie said, was that, yeah, they were wearing an armored jacket, but the armor was sitting here or down there, or it was so loose. And I think that's something really important to look at, is that you know, it might be men's, you know, the men's gear, but if it doesn't fit you properly, it's not really going to do a lot. You might as well bring your other jacket. And the same if it's too loose, it can come up when you crash. And with trousers as well, you know, they can sort of come down if you're not wearing them properly. And it's also with our gear, when you're safe, all of our gear is sort of tested. We know all our gear is safe, but also you need to be comfortable on the bike, because if you're not comfortable when you're riding, your mind's not going to be fully on the road as well. I think that's something really important. We do get a lot of ladies that come in and go, oh, you know, I've got this gear, it's fine, but because it doesn't fit me, I'm not enjoying my ride. I am shortening my ride, or I'm not going out as much. And I think, and actually that speaks a lot as well, is that, yeah, you know, you've got to make sure that the gear that, you know, luckily, obviously a lot of the gear that we have in the UK, it's all tested. So you can guarantee for a lot of the good brands, it's going to be safe. But if it's not fitting you, you know, on your waist and on your hips, and you're not comfortable, that's going to say a lot as well for when you're riding. But yeah, with guys, women, you know, we're built so differently. Like Ina said, you know, we've got curves like here, there, and everywhere. And I think that's but it's an awesome thing. I think when we're designing all of our gear, you know, like our summer jacket we've got out, it's got adjuster, it's got buckles that you can adjust it at the hips and the waist and the arms as well. So the ladies can, and also our shapes change as well, sort of all the time. You can sit there, actually, I'm having a bit of a bigger day, I want to let it out, pull it back in and things. So I think that's quite important. So yeah, and like Georgina Newton said, we're the same height as well, and I've always found that it's trousers are sometimes too long, and especially with bike gear. So with ours, we're offering them in the different leg lengths, and now with a lot of our new gear, you can adjust the knee armor as well, so you can sort of adjust it to get your perfect fit, really, which I think, yeah, is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know myself, you know, if you get the wrong size something, you're riding along thinking, is this knee armor in the right spot? And you think, well, if I crash, am I going to land on my actual knee, or is it going to, you know? So
at that point, you've already made the investment, haven't you, on the gear? So people are a bit like, oh, I don't know, we'll buy another one and put up with it. It isn't right.
I think what is also worth mentioning is that you get different back protector sizes for different sizes of women. But you don't get different knee size protectors necessarily, and it's not a requirement. So if you have a size, maybe let's say a 28, a bigger size, the protectors is not in relation the size for the knee.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is one of the things that some of the, you know, EU standards and UKCA standards are looking at. But the problem is, there's nothing like that really available also on the market necessarily to buy. So even if you as a manufacturer want to put figures in, and we had even customers asking us, there is nothing on the market for us to necessarily put in. And so I think that must evolve. And I think that manufacturers of, you know, armor needs to think about that, because at the end of the day, I would probably just say, let's say 90% of the time when you're in a crash, it's going to be your legs, right? It's going to be your legs, it's going to be your knees and stuff. So we need to make sure that is well protected. And that is also a difference in terms of, but that doesn't only affect women, that also affects men as well. When we look at safety armor. Yeah.
Did you want to comment on that, Steph?
Yeah, I mean, for me, is being in the armor industry, there is a lot of, I mean, it's really interesting to hear how things work in the UK. And sometimes I wish I'd be there, you know, because as I said, Australia's behind the eight ball. Here in Australia, a lot of people don't even know that there is no standards. There in Australia and Asia, there is no requirement of having impact certified tested armor that you can buy. And there's a lot of people out there wearing something that is actually no armor. I was one of them. My first armor gear was not impact tested. It only protected me from being roosted from a motorcycle before in front of me. So rocks. And I was horrified because I thought when I bought this, now this was obviously before I started going into Fempro Armour, I thought here I'm buying something that is armor and it will help me. And so it is really important to actually get the armor out of your jackets and to have a look, are they certified? And then there's also, what is certification? I mean, I have come across in different disciplines where stickers of CE have been placed onto the product, and that's actually not certified. It tends to look like it is.
Yeah.
But when it comes to armor, it has to have a pictogram in the actual armor engraved. So no stickers. It has to have numbers in it. And so it's here in Australia, there's not a lot of education when it comes to armor. I mean, I've taken out my very first jacket that I've bought. I've taken out on the weekends the armor because I only just found the jacket, and it was just a piece of foam. And the armor, the jacket in itself was about $600, and just a piece of foam, 3-4 mils. And I'm going like, and I wore that for about 3 years, and it just horrifies me that because I didn't know any better. And I believe if I didn't know any better, there are people out there that don't know better as well. To answer the question in regards of bigger knees armor, there is actually armor, like for our armor, our knees, shoulders, and elbows can be interchanged. So if the shoulder is always a bit bigger than your knees, so if you find you have bigger knees, you take the shoulder armor and place it into your knee area, which is great. And it all comes back down to, is your armor in a product that molds to your shape? Is really important too. So ours are made out of a special PU foam that will mold to your body shape. So literally Ina and Alan and I can wear exactly the same armor, but we have 3 different body shapes. So it's really important to understand what you can buy out there, and not every armor is the same. So it's like one armor will protect you where the other one most likely won't, but they still class as armor. So it's really important to understand of what is out there and what you're getting when you're buying a jacket or pants.
So people should be looking for CE1 or CE2 armor as opposed to a bit of rubber. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, totally. I mean, I don't wear CE level 1 on the road purely because you're around a lot of people that are trying to kill you, and you're riding different speeds. So I always go with a level 2 protection. When I go on the dirt, because we do long trails, there's different speeds. I'm not one of those crazy ones that do jumps and stuff like that. So a level 1 is quite fine. However, like our armor, our level 1 is only 270 grams compared to our level 2 in the smaller cups is 420 grams. Wearing it, you can't even notice any difference.
Yeah.
But I always say level 2 is always the best you can have. That gives you that peace of mind that you can't get better protected than that. And so if I mean, there are manufacturers out there that produces male garments and they have a level 2 armor in it, and then the same manufacturer makes female gear and it has level 1 in it. Yeah. And I go like, why are women not important enough to be saved? or do they tend to think that women can't ride like men do, so they don't deserve level 2? I don't get that. So for me, so I always say, if you want to be best protected, level 2, but then it's all about your own riding styles. I guess it's what's important to you. Some people believe in level 1. Is it wrong? No. I mean, that's the beauty. We can choose of how we want to be protected. Yeah. And, but for me, yeah, on the road, there's no better than level 2.
Yeah. Ina and Ellen, I've heard stories where women might they might wear fashion leather jackets. Are they the same as motorcycle leather jackets?
No.
Love the head shake.
How much time do we have? I mean, safety is such well, safety fabrics and protectors are such a huge subject, especially, you know, regarding testing and stuff as well.
Yeah.
You know, I would probably say the thing that is good, which Stephanie picked up on in terms of the protectors, they are CE. So basically, they're a level 1 or level 2. Now, clothing fall under a different standard than protectors. Mm-hmm. So clothing, in short, you'll have an A, AA, AAA, you can have a B, you can have a C, and they have different meanings.
Yeah.
And we have some information on our website to support people to start learning. So we're starting to engage a bit more to teach people what is the differences. Because a lot of people might think that the testing is just for abrasion, because the obvious question that you always get, how many seconds slide down do I get? To be honest with you, unless you're a GP rider on the track, you need probably 8-10 seconds. But if you're on the road, maybe not necessarily. Mm. You know, 2-3 seconds, they reckon, should be fine. Now, most people have accidents probably up to 40 miles per hour, 60, you know, most of the time. And then obviously you get the hooligans like Ellen, probably need to be more protected when she rides, because she goes a bit quicker. So I think in terms of the clothing, we don't only test for abrasion. To be honest, the new Diamond Start machine doesn't even give you in seconds. You need to do it on the old methods to get seconds. But you test the abrasion, you test the tear strength, you test the seams. Now, the seams is key, because if you have a garment, it doesn't matter if your fabric is a AAA, but if the seams fail, if the zips fail, you know, the other thing on the zips, if you have a leather jacket, specifically leather jacket, the zips gets tested. The snap buttons gets tested, because that might give you an allergic reaction to your skin. Yeah. The fabric, maybe which you use with the jacket, gets tested for ASO dyes, which is illegal dyes. You know, manufacturing processes that affects the ozone layer, or you know, so there's a lot of things that goes into PPE. You know, health and safety clothing. So it's not all about safety, it's also about health.
Yeah.
So with leather, you can get anything from 0.7 to 1.4. You can get thick leather, thin leather. I mean, you get buffalo leather, you know, kangaroo leather, you get, you know, all these cow leather, every different leathers. I mean, you sometimes see people selling, you know, what's it, sheepskin.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, yeah, sheep leather is what you'd buy like for your high street, like going out sort of jacket is.
And there's not a
sheep leather.
You can make a jacket in sheepskin leather, but then you have to completely line it with a really good Kevlar. Mm. You know, a high level Kevlar, then it's protected. You can have just good, strong, old school leather, and that will pass automatically. You know, it might be a little bit more heavier. You might need to wear it in for a month a bit so that it is nice holding to your body. So yes, in terms of the leathers, And that comes back to quality. If you go on, and this is what is a shame, really, that all countries don't participate in at least a basic standard.
Yeah.
Because you have people on Amazon and eBay and you know, selling stuff to make just a quick buck. I mean, I have some people coming in, oh, I can get the same pants on eBay for £50 or 50. I'm like, go and buy them, because I can't even manufacture it for that, right?
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that if you don't ask, just ask, what is the fabric? What is making me safe? Do you have maybe, even if the product is not CE certified, or like, for example, I always say to people, let's say Australia, the US, South Africa, those areas, they don't have that sort of requirement, but we have a lot of our stockists in Australia and South Africa, and so asking us in the US, is your stuff certified before they now buy from us?
Yeah.
And I think that is a good start, but there's some good brands out there that it doesn't do certification. It doesn't mean that, you know, you shouldn't buy it, but if you know, have a look, what is the construction of this trousers I'm buying? You know, what is the thickness of this Kevlar? I always use the comparison about, you know, the dania of women, what do you call tights? Tights, yeah. Women tights, you know. The thicker the dania, you know, the thicker the fabric. And that's the same with Kevlar. If it's a, you know, if it's a 100 GSM versus, you know, a 300, 400 GSM, you know, so understand what you are buying. You know, for an A level, you're probably looking minimum 230 GSM,
right?
You know, with another layer, you know, or you might need to look at a 300, 400 GSM if you're going to just have a single. So there's a lot of things you need to look at, but there's a lot of man-made fibers now, which are strong, some even stronger than leather. So, you know, so there's always a thing, there's always, maybe even a lot of companies or some companies in those countries like the US, at least they test the fabric. So they can say to you, we've used a AAA fabric or a AA fabric. Although the garment is not tested or the seams are not tested, at least there's some kind of testing.
Yeah.
But I think it's important, always important to note, this has not been forced on people to buy a garment that is certified. It's your choice. It's your choice. You're not forced to make a decision. In the UK and the US, we are, you know, we are not allowed to export. We are not allowed to put anything on the market or sell anything without that testing and certificates that we have. Now, certification, we are actually thinking of doing a few videos to explain people the process, because you know, it is a lengthy process. And if you can imagine, with after Brexit, the UK have decided we're going to have our own standards. So all our garments had to be sort of recertified. UKCA is our new CE. So we need 2 certifications to sell into Europe and the UK. So UKCA and CE, which we have completed, luckily. But this has
exactly the same for the armor as well. So yeah, exactly.
And I have to say, I mean, all the test centers out there are to the brim, because it is new rules for them, and suddenly, so they can't cope at the moment. I mean, we're looking at some of our products have been from the start of sending it from this office. We are waiting almost 38 to 40 weeks. So for us, we would love to bring out loads of clothing and 10, 20 garments a year, but realistically, it's going to take us a year to almost certify. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Right.
It will get better. It can only get better because the timings at the moment is, it can't, well, I hope it doesn't get worse, but it just can't, it mustn't get worse. But from next year, January, if we sell in the UK, it's have to be UKCA certified. So everybody is just sending in their stuff. And that has an impact on the ranges of women motorcycle clothing that you can bring out as a manufacturer, because now you have to decide, I have suddenly this increased massive cost of recertifying everything to sell into the UK. What am I dropping? And a lot of people are dropping the women's gear or the women ranges, because there's still 80% more men to sell to and 20% women. So yeah, it is a bit of a challenge, but we wait until we have our product tested. As soon as it's tested, we launch in Australia and the US and everywhere. And when we get this certificate in our hand, then we can sell. So we always, you know, the good thing is at least we know the product is tested and we can start selling in other countries, which help us as a business, because it's a big overhead testing.
Yeah. On a completely other note, I've been looking through the Q&As here, and a lot of people are talking about sizing and fitting and that kind of thing. But one thing that comes to mind is color. That's something that's come up in you know, in other chats that I've had. You know, there's tons of black around, and there's pink. There's some pink for female gear. Do you guys provide things that are not pink or black?
Yeah, so actually, yeah, quite a lot of our gear is available in different colours, especially a lot of our recent gear. So if we're just looking around our shop now, I mean, we've got our Valerie leather jackets. You've got them obviously in black. We do them in a camel colour, red, yellow, purple as well. And we've got our new summer Jodie jackets as well. They come in a range of 5 colours. Even like our casual wear as well, we want to do it in different ones. Our new cargo trousers, we've got 4 different colours available. So yeah, I mean, everyone, I mean, I'm guilty of it. Everyone's default is to go for black. And I see something, I'm like, I just want it in black, that's fine. I'll have a little bit of colour on it. But actually having these new colours out, like the Valerie jacket, when it came out in yellow, I was like, I would personally have never thought, oh, I need to get myself a yellow jacket, put it on, yellow with dark hair. I was like, yeah, absolutely love it. And we get ladies that come in, like we had a lady the other day, she came in and she was like, I'm really new to riding. I showed it around. She goes, I just want black jacket, black trousers, that's fine. And she saw the cargo trousers out the corner of her eye and she went, oh, she went, what are they? And I said, oh, you know, maybe try like the camo ones. And she went, well, I don't know if camo's a little bit out there for me. I said, look, just try it on and give it a go. She put them on and she went, oh my gosh. She walked away with a khaki green jacket and then some camo trousers, and even like the dungarees as well, or jeggings, like we do them in 3 different colours. And it's just, yeah, it's we like to sort of just open up people's options really. And I think, but again, it's that when you order online, you go safe, don't you? And when people come into stores, and I always encourage our dealers, like when they go, oh, yeah, I want to get some black leather jackets, I'm like, just get the yellow and the red in, because that will draw people's attention. And it always does. And the colours sell exceptionally well, especially with our new summer jackets. Like, we've got the black ones and everyone's like, when are the coloured ones coming out? And as soon as they came out, they just fly off the shelves, because ladies like that little bit of option. And it's with bike clothing, you know, especially when sort of Ina's designing it, or we want to design gear that's people want to wear on the bike, but both off the bike as well. Because nowadays, you know, obviously people are commuting, but people are going out for trips on their bike, and you don't want to sit there and have to get off the bike and go, oh, I've got to change because I don't like what I'm wearing, it's not fashionable. And so, yeah, a lot of our gear, people like that opportunity to show off their sort of personality and their style. So yeah, we do offer lots of colour options, and we want to keep sort of growing that. But even so, we get requests all the time for ladies to go, I want to sit in this colour and that colour, which is really good for us. Like even our new sweatshirts we brought out a whole different line of colours that we've never really explored before, purely because people give us their opinions. And actually from seeing it all around the world, you know, we've got different styles in the UK than I'm sure you guys have in Australia and around Europe and things like that. So it's good to get feedback, because it's things that we might not have thought of, because we know what we like as well and what our friends like, things like that. But someone might come up and go, oh, I want to see this in blue, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, you know, give that a go. So yeah, but it's good to see different colours. But yeah, in the shops, I like seeing it. It's good with the different colour options.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I'm getting flashes of Uma Thurman in Kill Bill or something with the yellow,
jacket. but people have to match it to their bikes as well. Like a lady came in the other day and she tried on the camel jacket and she goes, oh, I've just got to make sure it matches. Do you mind if I take it downstairs? I went, oh, are you matching it to your bike? She goes, well, actually, I've matched my seat to my shoes, so I want to make sure this matches the shoes. And I was like, yeah, why not? You know, like, why not? And I love it. And I like,
stylish,
yeah, and that's it. And, you know, I mean, you find me a lady pointing at this one here that's got only one pair of bike boots. You know, you want to match it to different things, and your helmet and things like that. So yeah, I love when people come in and you see how they've styled our gear. Like, I really, really enjoy seeing that. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, it sounds like there's a good market, you know, for women to, you know, to create things so that can be more fun. It's not necessarily just about riding from point A to point B, but it's everything that's involved. I think it sounds quite exciting.
Yeah, I think it's especially with leather jackets. I mean, we all have our little leather jacket in the cupboard for the winter, don't we? So it's great. Take out your back protector, take out all your protectors, put a jumper underneath, and go to the pub, you know, and or go out for the evening. And I think that's what we sort of try to encourage. You know, it's always you don't necessarily want anymore something like a proper leather track jacket with all the stuff on it, and you know, because it depends on your riding, right? I mean, if you're a commuter, if you're a racer, you're on the track, so you need to buy according to your riding style. You know, it doesn't mean you can get less hurt if you know, go for 5 miles to work or 30 miles per hour, but it does mean that, you know, if you need maybe less abrasion. So you can go down to a different level of protection. So yeah, it's just depending on your riding, you know, how you ride, what you need to wear, but definitely color coded as well. Yeah, I mean, I can't wear a yellow jacket on my. Well, that's why I bought a black bike now. I can wear any color with it, right? But yeah, a lot of people match. To touch on the pink, I do want to come up for the pink girls, because do you know what? There's a lot of girls who like pink.
Oh, I've got pink. I've got pink in my riding shoes. Yeah, like, I'm definitely like a pink person.
So there's nothing wrong with pink, but I mean, I personally am scared to do anything pink because I'll just be slated on Facebook. Oh, pink again. I'm so scared of pink now. I went for purple.
But that's it. Maybe we need to make a comeback now, because I think it's going in cycles, isn't it? But I think our press is find pink gear now.
I think it's more the perception that women were put into years ago when we started riding, that you have to wear pink in order to be seen as a girl. Because you know, like when you're wearing male gear, you know, male jackets and male pants, because nothing fits you, you're not going to look like a girl. And I, like, the first time when I wore my gear, I asked my partner, do I look like a girl now? And you know, and because we have, our armor is boob shaped, so and some women have actually more boobs now with the armor in than what they had before. And yeah, so I think it's just of what the stereotype that comes behind it, because there is some nice pink stuff out there. I mean, me personally, I'm not a pink girl at all. I'm the orange Power Ranger, and like, my bike is orange. I have orange boots. I have an orange helmet, and sometimes I do think I'm a little bit too orange. And but yeah, I think everyone color codes their clothing, and when it comes to motorcycling, because, and it's quite funny when you go into a group of how many people are wearing all the same colors, and it's interesting. And I mean, I know one girl, she's like, when she has gear on that has like 20, 30 different colors in it. It's like the rainbow, and actually looks really great too. And yeah, so it's yeah, I think it's more the perception that we have put in place many years ago of what we need to wear, and it's definitely changing.
Yeah, I see Kim wrote in the chat that she's changing all the stickers on a bike to be pink, and her number plate will be pink as well. So pink's still a thing.
Pink is still a thing.
In the UK, maybe, because we can't have that, sad, in the UK, but I would be doing it claim if I was allowed.
A pink number plate. Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's actually a great idea. It's like, you know, you could even have a number plate saying, "I'm a girl," you know, I mean.
Well, the bike shop downstairs, actually a girl rocked up this morning and it was like her bike was like fully purple. She had purple helmet, everything. I was like, why not? Like, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, to wear and enjoy what you want to do.
Exactly.
I think at the end of the day, you know, I mean, the way that I spotted motorcycle clothing in a shop, let's say 5 years, 10 years ago, was it had always these twirly swirly pink things on, or purple, or even white on black. And yeah, I actually still have a tracksuit like that, but I don't wear that. Actually, before the one track day, I took a black marker and I was coloring in all of those things to not show so much. But yeah, but I would say just from my end, you know, I think at the end of the day, everybody is different shapes of sizes and sizes. I mean, there is no ideal shape. You know, there's no boxes you can put people in terms of the shape. But I think as long as you're happy and as long as you're safe and comfortable, that's all that matters, really.
Yeah, because Ellen said it before really clearly, is if you're pulling and pushing on your jacket or your pants, or you're leaning over your bike and you show your plumber's crack and you feel uncomfortable of what people might say, your concentration isn't on the road and you're in way much more danger than anything else. So it's always, it's comfort. And there's no thing of what's more important. Is comfort more than what's safety? No, there's always, it's a very fine line. So but I from the discussion that we had, you know, with MotoGirl, they are changing, you know, making the sleeves longer and shorter legs and longer legs. So there is stuff out there, and the only thing is, we need to raise the awareness that there are companies out that are looking after ladies, and you just need to reach out and ask the questions and find and these days with social media, it's so much better now. People are getting more aware of great companies that do some great stuff for females.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably a good place to leave it. I think we've had a pretty good discussion. I appreciate everyone who's come in on the chat and let us know their thoughts, and I appreciate everyone, Ina and Ellen and Steph, that you've come in and taken the time to talk about it. I think, like you said, Steph, the more we talk about it, you know, the more that retailers and more that manufacturers and everyone's going to be more aware, and it's going to grow, and it's only going to continue to grow because there's going to be more female riders, and you know.
I just think is females just need to go to the retailers and literally hammer them and go like, when are you going to bring this out? I know this is out there, and just ask, because if more women go and ask, they will then go like, oh, okay, there is a market. There are women that need this. But if women don't go and do the hassle, and yes, I get it in one way is we shouldn't, but unfortunately we need to in order to change something.
Yeah. Go in there and say, I need one of those cool MotoGirl yellow leather jackets, and
yeah.
I need two.
In a Kill Bill.
Yeah, that's very cool. All right. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate taking the time.
Thank you so much.
Really nice to talk to you today.
Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.
No worries.
Yes.
So,
Bye.
bye.
See you then.
When I feel like this, I'm immortal.